Hello, George.
Hello.
Hey, good to see you again.
It's good to be seen.
Yeah, well, we're enjoying this series, even if it is a little disruptive for us sometimes. It's called The Road Less Traveled. And so we're really trying to ask, what was the road less traveled for Jesus? And then what does that mean for me? How do I think about this? Because we don't want to champion being narrow for the sake of being narrow, or to find pride in we're doing it better because we're walking on this fine line. We're asking, what's Jesus getting at when he's teaching it? And equally important, how's he doing it?
Yeah.
And what are we to take from that? What expression of Christ in us will this display? And so today, our topic.
Let me just add to that. I don't think Jesus did anything that was that wouldn't be considered a road less traveled, a different way of doing life. And you know why? Because what he is bringing to the world is a totally different way of life with God.
Yeah.
So it has to be, whatever Jesus did, it has to be counter-cultural, counter-church cultural of his day.
Yeah.
So he is bringing and making available a new way of being with God, a new way of understanding reality, a new way of understanding being, a new way of relationships, a new way of experiencing God. Everything is new in the way Jesus is giving us this life with God.
Yeah.
And a new way of seeing God's kingdom, which is what constitutes the most basic and real thing that we can experience in this life.
Yeah.
Right? So it goes without saying that what Jesus is teaching was against the common ways of seeing and viewing God that had built up over time among his people.
Yeah.
And it goes for us too.
Yeah.
Because we've built up a whole bunch of things that we now need to begin to dismantle. And we've been dismantling all over, our history. Every once in a while, there's a revolution that happens in Christianity, and we begin to see things differently.
Yeah.
We may be in one right now. I don't know, but there's a different way of doing this Christian life that all goes back to Jesus, and that's what we are.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to get at, and to bring that into our own lives. We're not trying to make it disruptive. We're just saying it's the nature of it.
And part of it, like it's personal. We are at the stage of life where we're asking, okay, where's our legacy? What's going to happen after we leave? And are we actually making the same difference that Jesus would want us to make with our own lives as we live them today?
Yeah, that's right.
We want to. If we're not traveling those roads, we need to consider traveling them.
That's right.
Because our master did.
That's exactly right. Yeah. It's good. Okay, so now we're in this, I think this is the 11th episode, if we're counting correctly, George, and this one you've called, I want to ask, I have a question about the title. You've called Prayer and Communion. Now, I will say before we get into it, so you don't have to say it, when we're using communion today, we're not talking about the observance of a sacrament that is often called communion. That would be worth talking about, but we're not doing that in this episode. This is not the Lord's Supper. We're talking about something else. But I think the question, and I think you can define the something else. You can define communion if you want, but I think the deeper question I want to ask you to get us started is, why did you put these two together? Prayer and communion. Communion meaning the commonness or commonality of on the road less traveled, and you can decorate that better probably. But what was in your thinking that you joined them together?
It just seemed to me that the lifeline that Jesus had with the Father, where he communed, where he was in common when he was getting the very thought of God infiltrate his own human being to be what he was. He called that communion, was prayer.
Okay. Yeah.
When Jesus was praying, he was communing with God.
Okay, good.
And that's how these two words, fit together.
Okay, yeah.
God is communicating all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
He's communicating through nature. He's communicating through us to one another. He's communicating to us individually.
Yeah.
And that whispering voice of his that we recognize as godly and divine and directive and good and beautiful and true, he's communicating with us. How do we communicate with him? That whole process is called communion with God.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's kind of the thing, at least in part, Jesus is getting at when he says, abide in me, commune with me.
That's right.
We share a life in common.
That's right.
And I hadn't thought about that much, but we get a lot of words from that root, like communicate and community and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Prayer and communion.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about Jesus' life of prayer.
We're here, we're not trying to pretend that we have something new to say about prayer that hasn't been said.
Yeah.
The church has been writing about prayer for a couple of thousand years.
Yeah.
And we have an old, the first covenant that is just full of prayers.
Oh, wow. In the Old Testament.
The Old Testament,
Yeah.
And Jesus took the book of Psalms as the book of prayer. And there's a lot of people who would want us to return to that and say the book of Psalms ought to be the common book of prayer of the church.
That's good.
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, we love that.
I've been in churches, mostly ethnic churches, where they pray a psalm every week. They read, not just read, but pray it. I've been in a Korean church where they read a psalm and then they pray the psalm in communion together. Like all the voices are praying, not just the preacher up there or the one who is praying, but the whole congregation is praying with one loud voice the content of that psalm back together.
Yeah, that's good.
That's in our history.
Yeah.
That's the fabric out of which came the New Testament, and that's the early church was thinking in those directions as well. Yeah.
So if we were giving a teaching on prayer, which we're really not on this episode as much, it's not really our aim, but if we were, we would be trying to draw out what the church has already written and taught.
Correct.
More than like, we have new thoughts on prayer.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do want to bring out like something different in the life of Jesus and how he approached prayer.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be critical of the way we pray today, or I'm just adding an element, a facet that maybe we sometimes neglect when we teach about prayer and communion with God.
You're going to go there now. Good. I'm glad. Let's go there because this is really, really important.
So when we, and I've done this all of my life, when we try to teach people how to pray like Jesus, our default passages would be passages like Luke 5:16, for example.
Okay.
Let me just read that.
You get there?
Yeah. Luke 5:16. And it's an important verse because I think it has a verb tense in it that is very strategic and life setting.
Okay.
For life. But he would withdraw to deserted places and pray. He would withdraw is the imperfect tense in Greek, as his habit was to withdraw, to be in prayer. We would do.
Okay, so Jesus has a private life of prayer.
Of prayer, that's right, of communion with God.
Yeah.
And I think that is, we've taught that. That just like as Jesus has a private life of prayer, an individualistic life of prayer, we ought to have that same kind of prayer.
So we score pretty well on that one.
We score fairly well, at least in our teachings.
Yeah.
Whether in our practice we're there or not, we'll leave it up to our listeners to determine that. In Mark chapter 1 and verse 35, a similar kind of phrase, and it's not rare to find this kind of saying, this kind of truth in the scriptures. In the morning, while it was still very dark, he got up and went out to a deserted place, and there he prayed. So you have this Jesus as an individual needing to be alone with God.
Yeah.
And I think that's the pattern that we teach everyone. They need to pray.
Pray this way.
Pray this way.
Yeah, often, in my tradition, it's been get up in the morning, get alone with God in your Bible. Yeah, and pray.
But you and I did something together that I think has changed the way I think about this. And I would call it communion or community.
Okay.
A community kind of praying, and we were only two. There were others that used this way of praying. That is, we took the same plan of reading scriptures and praying, and we did that separately, but we were using the same material of praying every day.
That's right.
And I remember that gave us something in solidarity with one another.
Yeah.
That was really helpful to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here.
Yeah. So just knowing that you're praying the same prayer as I am praying the same prayers.
Yeah.
And reading the same scriptures, and we're having communion with God, though separately, there was a solidarity that God built into that process.
Yeah, that's really good, George.
And that's what I want to bring out in the way Jesus also prayed in his day. He did not just pray alone. Those were occasions where it tells us that he went alone to pray. But the common way of praying in Jesus' day, and Jesus is not criticizing that, when he says, when you pray, pray like this.
Yeah.
And he does say, go into your closet and all of that. And we take that sometimes literally. Like you individually go into your closet and shut the door and all of that.
Right.
No, but what he's saying, when you're praying, when you're fasting, when you're giving, don't give in public the way some people give just to show off.
That was the point of the closet there.
That's right.
It was not to say go pray in your closet. It was like don't pray to be seen by others.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so this communal element to prayer and communion with God has become more and more crucial in my own thinking, because I think that's how Jesus also prayed. He did not just pray individually, he also prayed in communion with other people and in harmony with other people. Now, we call that a daily rhythm of prayer. At least it's come to be known as the daily rhythm of prayer, or some traditions call it praying the office. Or things of that nature. And what it is, it's a group of people taking the same text, taking the same prayers, and praying them at the same time.
Yeah.
Now, here's the question. Was that present in Jesus' day? Did Jesus participate in that?
In that way.
Yeah. And my answer is, of course. Of course. It was common. And everybody did that, including Jesus, during his day, to stop 3 times a day go to the synagogue in villages. They would go to the synagogue and pray the prayers that were prescribed for that time of the day.
Huh.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was the third hour. It was the sixth hour. It was the ninth hour. And all of those hours are not just indicating what time of the day it is, but it's indicating what time of the day it is when you stop to pray. That's the importance of these third, sixth, and ninth hours, and other hours also mentioned. That the people of God gathered together. If they were in business and they couldn't get to the synagogue, that's where they stopped to pray. But if they could get to the synagogue, they did, and they went there to pray.
Yeah.
And they did that 3 times a day. In the morning, they would pray the morning prayer, the shakirat. The noon prayer would be like the blessings, and the evening prayers would be something different. And so that's what they prayed day in and day out throughout. And that was the formative power of communing with God together with other people. And that's what prayer is. Of course, prayer is not just asking God for things. We haven't defined it, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's communing with God, and communing with God specifically about, God, what is it that we need to be doing? What's my next step?
Yeah.
What do I need to be saying?
Yeah.
How do I do this? What do I get involved with? Where do I go to be of service to you? It's all life-encompassing kind of communication with God that is both speaking and listening and hearing what God wants to do and joining Him in that kind of.
A lot of checking in.
That's right.
With God.
Dallas would have used to define prayer as what God and me are doing together. And I like that definition because it is comprehensive.
Yeah.
It is me listening. It is us listening to what God wants to do and to do it that way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So you're distinguishing. You started this conversation by saying we've been trained in the way of individualistic prayer.
That's right. That's right.
There needs to be more.
There needs to be
There.
a corporate, gathered community way of prayer. Now, we used to do that. We used to do that on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
People would come together to pray just for the sake of praying and to be together in prayer.
Yeah.
You know, we've stopped doing that, and most churches, you just don't hear about that.
Yeah.
If we have a prayer request, we put it in the email. Everybody pray about that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't hear prayer in community on Sunday morning during worship either. We have like praying for this, praying for that kind of thing, but the people are not actually praying together. And I think there's room for that.
Yeah.
So the Jews during Jesus' day, including Jesus, would have prayed 3 times a day. They would have stopped. And every time they would pray the Shema, Hear, O Israel, it's a reminder. It's a reminder who they are and who they are in relationship to God and what God is doing in His world.
Yeah.
The Lord our God is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, strength, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a reminder of what life is all about.
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
know what it is.
Yeah.
And we get to do that when we stop together and pray the prayer.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's just, it doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
We don't just have that understanding of the way we need to pray and to travel this road
Yeah.
that is less traveled today, but we have the early church adopting the exact same method
Yeah.
of praying.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. There's this text in the end of Acts chapter 2.
That's right. That's right.
Can I read it?
Yeah, let's read it together.
Yeah, this is Acts. This is a pretty familiar passage. Acts 2:42 to the end of that chapter is 5-6 verses. Says so. This is a kind of a summary post Pentecost. There's a larger group of Christ followers now, and Luke gives us this summary of what they're doing. He says they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to the fellowship and to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe.
Yours says, and to prayer?
It does.
Yeah.
And to prayer.
Have you ever done an exegesis of that passage?
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah.
Do you remember this particular word?
For prayer?
It has a definite article before it.
Oh, interesting. No, I don't think I've caught that.
It's the prayers.
That's interesting.
They devoted themselves to the
prayer. That is a bit of a game changer to read it that way.
Yeah.
It's bringing this in.
Yeah.
The point you're making.
Well, some translations bring it out, some others don't.
Yeah.
Continue.
Do better, NIV. Come on. Yeah, right? Verse 43. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved.
Yes. Could you read verse 46 again?
Sure. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts.
Yeah. And this translation has day by day as they spent much time together in the temple. They broke bread at home. And they ate their food gladly.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're in the temple.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Doing what at the temple?
Yeah, doing what? I don't know that we've thought much about that.
Yeah.
What are they doing in the temple, George?
What are you doing in the temple?
Yeah.
You pray.
You're praying.
You're praying.
Yeah.
You're praying.
Yeah. It's good.
There was something I know. We were in Armenia, just visiting friends a month ago or so, and I've noticed that in Greece and other countries as well, where churches are open all day long, where people come in, have a little time of silence and solitude and prayer. But there are always other people there. And they're just, it's a common thing to do. It's what people do. They just recollect themselves at a certain time in the day. And then they go on the rest of the day doing whatever they need to do. But there's this kind of togetherness. They're all coming to be in communion with God.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not a common prayer that is prayed. Sometimes there's someone officiating and they are reciting and praying.
Yeah.
But very often it's just the congregants coming at any time of the day to be there and to pray to God. Yeah.
That's good.
I just thought that that communal understanding of we go to the temple to pray, we go to a place that we're all a part of, that we all have in common to pray.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that.
Yeah, that's good.
I think Jesus was part of that culture. And I think the early church took that culture and continued with it.
That's good.
Have you ever heard of what is called the Didache?
The Didache, yeah, sure. It's kind of the teaching.
The teaching,
of early
that's
church.
what the word means.
Yeah.
Didasko is to teach, and the Didache is the teaching.
Yeah.
And there's prescribed in there what the early church is supposed to do. And it follows this so well.
Oh, wow.
In the book of Acts.
Yeah.
And they were to pray daily. And you know what they learned to pray daily? And the Didache is written before the end of the first century.
Okay.
Like we're talking very,
So,
very early in
kind
the
of
life
around
of the church.
the same time some of the New Testament
Was written.
being
That's
written.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. Now we're not looking at it as canonical, but it's an
not
important
scripture.
document
Yeah.
that this is how they trained disciples,
Yeah.
and they were to pray together the Lord's Prayer 3 times a day. When they prayed the Shema, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one," they also prayed, "Our Father who art in heaven,
Yeah.
hallowed be your name." And they prayed it together as a corporate body.
Yeah.
Right? I think there is something to praying together that is enlivening, that is different than when we do prayer alone.
Yeah. Say that again, George.
Well, let me speak from my own personal experience. And I've said that in many settings now, that when I come together with people to lead, we always have a time of prayer, of reading scriptures and praying scriptures and just praying. And those are the most enlivening times for my own growth and development as a believer, when I'm with other people praying. And I'm not just talking about opening a meeting in prayer,
Right.
or closing a meeting in prayer, or
Right.
praying before this, praying before that.
Yeah.
That's not the important thing that I'm saying, but just being with people praying, because I think that is the neglected, that is the road less traveled today.
Yeah, that's good.
We've
It
emphasized
is.
so much the individual side to the neglect of the other.
Yeah.
And I think the road less traveled wants to take us back
Back to there.
to there.
Yeah.
Yes.
George, we've been introduced to a way of praying, and I'll narrow it a little bit, just for the sake of communicating this way. It's called listening prayer, which is a pretty generic term, but we've been introduced to a way of praying together around an individual who is in the throes of a decision or a crisis. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a decision or a crisis, but that's kind of how it originally came to me anyway. And we won't get too deeply into it, but it is a way of praying together that allows the person with the decision or the crisis or whatever it is to bring that into the community.
So that the whole community is
Yeah.
praying about it at the same time.
That's right. They're
Yeah.
gathering around it.
Yeah.
Usually, part of that, as we've experienced it, there's time of quiet around the person. But here's one of the interesting things that I want to bring to bear in this practice as we've done it, is one thing that's not allowed is advice giving. So if someone has a problem, we often will pray. This is how we've been taught, many of us. We will either pray our advice as we're praying to them. We'll use prayer as a mask to tell them what we think they should do. Or we'll have the prayer, ask God to speak to them, and then we'll speak to them about what they ought to do. And I'm not saying that's always inappropriate. There's an appropriate place for advice giving. But as a practice, what we've learned to do is to refrain from giving advice in those situations. Here's what it's done. It's been so life-giving to a number of us who have been on this road of learning this way of we're going to sit with you who have this issue in prayer. We're not here to fix it for you. We're here to be with you in it.
And to listen
prayer.
with you.
And to listen with you. And occasionally the Lord has given someone inspiration
Some
or
clarity.
enlightenment.
Yeah, yes.
And we can bring that, but we don't bring it, even then we don't bring it in the moment. We're simply being with them in prayer.
Yes.
And anyway, that's been a really good start for me personally to re-engage communal prayer in the way that you're
What I've
using it.
heard people say is just being able to be with other people who are listening to me talk about the particular thing that I have, that I'm facing, is life-giving.
That's right.
enough. Just to have other people listening with me and listening with God to me has been life-giving to me.
That's right.
Yes.
And I think there's one of the things I've heard too is that people through this way, particularly I'm going back to the not advice giving, there's developed a reluctance from some people to pray in community because they want to talk to God in community. They're not going for therapy or advice from others. There's nothing wrong with those things again, but that this way of praying together without feeling the urge to solve other people's problems, but to bring them together to God and then let Him speak into the community. It's just been so life-giving for me.
Yeah, our model of how to pray, when to pray, what to pray has emphasized the individual model.
That's right.
I'm saying Jesus practiced also the communal model, and that was the daily model.
And that's the point.
That's the daily model of praying together in communion with God, to do it together with a group of people.
I want to bring up one more thing, George, before we end, and that's technology.
Yes.
Yeah, because you've been encouraging me in this direction, and a kind of confession time here, I guess. Like, I try not to be an old curmudgeon, as I'm getting older. But one of the ways I think I am is related to technology. I just wish the whole world would throw their phones into a lake. That's kind of my default, and I know that's not realistic. We live so much of our lives, through our phones and our devices, But this morning, as we were preparing for this conversation, it sort of dawned on me, for lack of a better phrase, that we can use technology in a way that helps us pray together, because we all have this longing to live in the Shire.
Yes.
But it's hard to live in the Shire when we're not actually. Or to maybe say it this way, it's hard to live like a Shire when you're not actually living in the Shire. And most of us aren't living in the same neighborhood. And so technology is a way we can actually learn to pray together.
It's a kind of a Shire.
It's kind of a Shire, yeah. I've been resistant to that because I don't like what I view as a depersonalization of it. It's not face-to-face. But sometimes we have to accommodate the fact that we're spread out.
I mean, let me put it out there. There may be some people in our listening audience that would want to try something like that. Like at 6:30, send out a Zoom link to 3 or 4 of your friends and just get together to pray. Around a Bible verse or around something that's happening in your life. Just pray. Pray together. And that's doable for some people. You don't have to be an expert. You're just one who is willing to pray and to be vulnerable with God and with people.
Do it online together. I think that's really good. Okay. Are we done?
We're done.
Well, prayer and communion, I mean, there's so much more we could say. We tried not to bring new insights on prayer so much because we don't have them.
We don't have them.
We simply want to say, let's pay attention and tend to praying together. Not just, we're not saying pray less by yourself. We're saying make sure that we're also praying with others.
And just like a last caveat. We're not saying come together to pray and bring your laundry of lists and things like that to pray about. We're saying come to pray and be determined to have communion with God.
That's good.
It's not about bringing your list and then all of us praying together.
That's right.
That's not the point.
That's not what we're getting at here.
What we're saying, what you can do in private in communion with God, you can also do jointly.
That's really good. Abide in Christ.
Together.
That's really good. Caveat. Okay. Thank you, George. It's good stuff, worth our further reflection. And, well, that's our offering to you today. Thank you. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Soul Renovate podcast. Any of the scriptures or resources that we mentioned in this episode will be linked in our show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app, because it really helps us to share these conversations with more Christian leaders like you. And if you have any questions you'd like Jim and George to answer, you can email us at info@soulrenovate.us. Soul Renovate is a ministry of Christ First Counseling Center, and it exists to propel Christian leaders to abide in Christ and grow in His likeness. Soul Renovate is made possible by the generous support of people like you. If you'd like to support us, you can do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. And if you'd like to learn more about Soul Renovate, you can also do that on our website, soulrenovate.us. This podcast is produced by me, Dalton Huey. Our cover art was designed by Hannah Huey, and our music is by The Fox's Forest. Thanks again for listening. Till next time.